What if I told you that the people you admire the most, the billionaires, the CEOs, the world shapers, don't think like you at all? What if their success wasn't luck or talent, but something darker? A psychological blueprint hidden in plain sight, a mental framework so powerful that once you learn it, you stop being manipulated and start seeing the world the way they do. Here's the truth. Successful people don't rise because they're good. They rise because they're strategic. And today, you're about to see the world through their eyes. By the end of this video, you will understand the 15 Machiavellian psychological principles that the world's most successful people use to control their emotions, predict human behavior, influence decisions, eliminate distractions, and engineer their own rise. These are not theories. These are the mindsets used by top negotiators, power brokers, elite thinkers, high-stakes leaders. And once you learn them, you will never think the same way again. These principles come straight from Machiavelli's timeless strategies, the same psychological rules used for centuries to rise above the crowd. Before we go deeper, subscribe. Not for me, but because content like this makes your mind sharper than 95% of people. Comment, I'm ready to think differently. If you're locked in. Number 1, the hidden mind of success. Here's the first psychological shift of successful people. They never react emotionally. While most people respond instantly, successful people pause. They let others reveal their intentions first. Machiavelli called this the power of stillness. When you allow others to speak, complain, justify, and expose their fears, they hand you the blueprint to influence them. You gain control by not needing control. But that's nothing compared to the mindset you're about to learn next. The one that turns ordinary thinkers into unstoppable forces. In 2008, during a negotiation worth millions, a quiet executive did something unusual. He didn't argue. He didn't defend. He didn't explain. He simply said, "I see," and then waited in silence. That silence cracked the room. The other side panicked, revealing every insecurity, every fear, every limit of their offer. By the end, the silent man walked away with 3x what he asked for, not because he was loud, but because he understood dark psychology. The person who speaks least holds the real power. If that principle surprised you, wait until you see the next one. The psychological habit successful people use to control any environment they walk into. It's darker, it's sharper, and it's the reason average minds never reach the top. They observe before they move. Most people enter a room wanting to be noticed. Successful people, they enter a room wanting data. They scan who's confident, who's insecure, who seeks validation, who dominates, who folds, who influences quietly. Then and only then, they choose a role to play. You see, dark psychology teaches this. You can't lead the room until you understand the room. This is why successful people rarely speak first. They're busy watching, calculating, mapping the human battlefield. Because Machiavelli said it clearly, a man who cannot see the minds of others cannot control his own fate. This is the moment when your thinking begins to shift. You're no longer viewing success as luck. You're starting to understand the mental game behind it. If these insights are speaking to you right now, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm that deep thinkers like you still exist. Comment, I see the game now. But here's where things get truly interesting. Because the next principle reveals a mindset that successful people use to stay 3 steps ahead of everyone. A mindset so powerful that once you master it, people will believe you can read their mind. Number 2, the art of predicting human behavior. You're about to learn the psychological weapon that gives successful people an unfair advantage. The ability to predict what someone will say, think, or do before they do it. Not magic, not intuition. A system, a mental formula Machiavelli himself implied. He who understands nature understands destiny. Prepare yourself, because once you learn this, you'll never see people the same way again. Successful people use a mindset I call the pattern principle. Most people behave in predictable loops. The insecure overshare. The proud exaggerate, the fearful avoid, the greedy rush, the desperate cling, the arrogant underestimate, the confused delay, the jealous sabotage. Once you recognize these loops, you can predict reactions with shocking accuracy. Smart people watch actions. Successful people watch patterns. But Machiavellian thinkers, they watch patterns over time. This is what makes them unbeatable. Comment, I study patterns. If you're still here, you're thinking differently already. There's a story of an investor who could predict when people were lying to him, but he wasn't psychic. He simply tracked behavioral loops. One founder always scratched his nose when hiding numbers. Another blinked rapidly before exaggerating. One tapped his foot right before asking for money. Everyone else in the room thought he was gifted, but he had simply studied humans like chess pieces. He didn't read minds. He read patterns. Now here's where it gets darker. This is what successful people do that average people never do. They let people reveal themselves. Instead of asking direct questions, they ask open psychological triggers like, what do you think we should do? Walk me through your thinking. What would you do in my position? Is this your final answer? Every one of these questions forces people to expose their motives, reveal their confidence level, show their hidden fears, display their internal logic. Machiavelli warned, people expose more by speaking than by silence. So the successful listen, and listen, and listen, then act. And here's the twist. People don't hide who they are. They hide who they want you to think they are. Asterisk, asterisk. Successful people read the gap between the two. Here is the exact Machiavellian formula. 1. What they want reveals their future actions. 2. What they fear reveals their limits. 3. What they avoid reveals their weakness. 4. What they repeat reveals their pattern. 5. What they say about others reveals who they are. Once you identify these 5 patterns, you can predict almost anyone. Yes, even the people who think they're unpredictable. That brings us to the deeper layer. Successful people predict by creating conditions. They don't wait to see how someone behaves. They design the environment, so a person will behave in a predictable way. This is advanced dark psychology. Example, want to see if someone respects you? Set a small boundary. Watch their reaction. Want to know if someone has self-control? Give them options with delayed rewards. Want to know if someone is loyal? Give them an opportunity to talk behind your back. Machiavelli said, to reveal a man's nature, give him power. I'll add, or give him opportunity, or silence, or time, or temptation. Successful people understand this deeply. People are predictable because conditions trigger their true nature. If you're learning something right now, hit the like button. It tells me to keep creating content for minds like yours. Comment, I see human nature clearly. Now that you understand the psychological blueprint for predicting behavior, we move into something far more dangerous. The mindset successful people use to control their own emotions so nothing and no one can manipulate them. This is where most people fail, and where powerful minds rise. Number 3, emotional control, the weapon of elite. Here's the truth powerful people understand. Before you can influence anyone, before you can predict anything, before you can win any psychological game, you must conquer the most dangerous enemy alive, your own emotions. Most people are ruled by impulses. Successful people, they weaponize theirs. Machiavelli hinted at this centuries ago. The one who masters himself rules all. And tonight, you're about to learn the emotional framework that separates leaders from followers, predators from prey, and the successful from everyone else. Successful people never respond in the heat of emotion. This is the rule that average people break every day. They react when angry, when jealous, when threatened, when embarrassed, when ignored. But powerful people do the opposite. They delay. It's not weakness. It's weaponized patience. Because here's the dark psychology behind it. When you pause, the other person loses certainty, and uncertainty creates advantage. Comment, I control my reactions. A famous CEO once received an email filled with insults from a competitor. Any normal person would have fired back instantly. Instead, he waited 48 hours. He didn't react. He didn't defend. He simply replied. Noted. That single word. Cold, calm, emotionless, unsettling. Sent the other party into a psychological spiral. They apologized, then over-explained, then revealed far too much. Because silence makes unstable people expose themselves. This is emotional control in its rawest form. Let's go deeper. This is where emotional mastery becomes Machiavellian. Emotional distance equals strategic power. Successful people think like this. My emotions are for me. My decisions are for the world. They don't mix the two. Most people collapse under pressure, criticism, rejection, uncertainty, embarrassment. But powerful minds approach emotions like data. What is this feeling telling me? What triggered it? Is this useful? Can this be weaponized? Instead of drowning in emotion, they observe emotion. And Machiavelli's teaching is clear. A man who cannot control his emotions becomes a servant to them. Successful people refuse servitude, especially to their own impulses. Here's the darkest emotional tactic. They detach from outcomes. Why? Because the person who cares less always holds more power. This doesn't mean apathy. It means non-attachment to emotional loss or gain. Examples. If a negotiation fails, they simply renegotiate later. If someone betrays them, they categorize, not collapse. If people criticize them, they observe insecurity, not feel pain. If they lose money, they calculate the next move. Emotionally detached people become dangerous because you can't manipulate someone who isn't afraid to lose. And here's the twist. Most people lose control because they fear consequences. Successful people stay in control because they fear nothing except losing control itself. Now I'm about to give you the same technique top performers used to never fall into emotional traps. This is dark. This is sharp. And once you learn it, no one will ever be able to provoke you again. The cold mirror technique. Before reacting, ask, is this situation attacking my ego or my reality? If it's your ego, stay silent. If it's your reality, strategize. If it's both, detach first, then plan. This alone puts you in the top 1% of emotional thinkers. Here's the emotional truth behind every successful mind. Emotion is fuel. Control is the engine. Strategy is the steering wheel. Asterisk, asterisk. Most people let emotions drive them straight off cliffs. But successful people, they use emotions as energy, not guidance. Once you learn this form of Machiavellian control, you become harder to manipulate, harder to intimidate, harder to provoke, harder to predict, harder to defeat. This is why emotional mastery separates ordinary from elite. If you're still watching right now, you're not average. You're not casual. You're someone awakening mentally. Hit the like button so this reaches more people like you. Comment, I master my emotions. Now that you've learned emotional control, we're moving into something even darker. The psychological framework successful people use to think clearly when everyone else falls into chaos. Asterisk, asterisk. This is where real power begins. The Machiavellian mind is strategy. Number 4, the power of strategic thinking. Here's the brutal truth. Most people live their lives reacting, not strategizing. Successful people, every move is intentional. Every decision calculated. Every outcome considered before it even happens. Machiavelli said it centuries ago. The ends justify the means, but only if the means are guided by foresight. Today, you're about to learn the strategic mindset that separates ordinary thinkers from unstoppable leaders. Think of life like chess. Most people play checkers. The elite think in 3, 5, even 10 moves ahead. Every action has layers. Successful people don't act impulsively. They ask, 1. Immediate effect. What happens if I act now? 2. Secondary effect. What ripple will this create? 3. Tertiary effect. Who benefits? Who loses? 4. Long-term consequences. Will this matter a year, 5 years, or a decade? They turn every decision into a calculated advantage. Comment: I think 10 steps ahead. If you're still watching, your strategic mind is awakening. A tech founder once faced a hostile competitor trying to sabotage his launch. Most would panic. Most would react. Instead, he mapped out 3 potential enemy moves and 4 contingencies. By the time the competitor acted, the founder was already 2 steps ahead, turning every attack into free marketing and new opportunities. That's strategic thinking in action, not reaction, not luck. Calculated domination. Success is a series of controlled risks. Strategic thinkers avoid unnecessary battles, exploit weak points, time their moves, anticipate backlash, create leverage. Machiavelli warned, fortune favors the bold, but the wise plot before they dare. The elite don't gamble blindly. They measure risk with precision. Every failure is a lesson, every success a reinforcement. And here's the most dangerous part. The truly successful often appear effortless. That's because you only see the final move, not the dozens of calculated maneuvers behind it. One of the most overlooked Machiavellian tactics. Control your surroundings. Example: want influence? Choose where discussions happen. Want compliance? Choose the context of the conversation. Want cooperation? Frame the narrative before it's even spoken. Strategic people rarely blame luck. They engineer conditions to make luck work for them. Here's the bottom line. Strategic thinking is not reactive. It is anticipatory, calculated, and relentless. Asterisk, asterisk. Most people live in chaos. The elite create order from chaos. Once you master this mindset, you foresee obstacles. You design outcomes. You control perception. You bend circumstances to your favor. And this is just the beginning. If you're absorbing this and ready to think differently, hit like now. Your mind is evolving. Comment: I control outcomes. Next, we dive into the dark psychology of influence and persuasion. You'll learn how successful people bend others' decisions subtly, often without them realizing it. This is where Machiavellian strategy turns into power over people. Number 5, the invisible strings of influence. Here's the unsettling truth. The most successful people don't just think strategically. They shape the thoughts and actions of everyone around them. You may not notice it, but influence is everywhere. And once you understand it, you can guide decisions without force, argument, or confrontation. Machiavelli made this clear centuries ago. He who can manipulate perception commands reality. People do what you want without knowing it. The elite use these psychological levers. 1. Reciprocity. Give first. People feel compelled to respond. 2. Scarcity. When something seems rare, desire increases. 3. Social proof. People follow the perceived majority. 4. Authority. Establish credibility early. Others obey subconsciously. 5. Consistency. Small commitments lead to bigger actions. Comment: I see the invisible strings. If you're still watching, you're thinking like the elite. A well-known influencer wanted to sell a new product. Instead of pushing it directly, she shared small success stories of others using it, made limited offers, asked followers to commit by trying a free sample. People didn't feel pressured. They chose to follow her lead. Result? Within a week, her product sold out, and the buyers felt it was their idea all along. This is influence. Not coercion, but direction. Subtle, powerful, unstoppable. Emotional mirrors. The elite don't just speak. They mirror emotions. Want cooperation? Show calm confidence. Want trust? Reflect their vulnerabilities subtly. Want submission? Express slight dominance carefully. Machiavelli's principle applies. Appearances govern reality. Shape them wisely. By controlling how others feel about themselves, you control what they do. Successful people frame situations to make decisions seem natural. Example: instead of saying, "Buy this now," they say, "Imagine where you could be in a month if you acted today." The choice seems voluntary, but the path has been subtly guided. Influence is not about lying. It's about understanding the human mind and using its tendencies strategically. Influence is invisible, but consequences are real. Master these tactics. People trust you more. People comply effortlessly. People reveal their desires and weaknesses. You gain power without conflict. And remember, the most dangerous people are unseen influencers. This is a weapon successful people wield silently, daily, without most ever noticing. If you want to think like the elite and see the world clearly, hit like now. Comment, I see the game. Now that you understand influence, it's time to explore how the elite manipulate perception and reality itself. You'll learn the next Machiavellian secret. Number 6. Reality is what you make others believe. Here's a dangerous secret most people never realize. Reality is not what happens, it's what people believe happens. The elite don't just act. They shape perception, and perception becomes reality. What people see, what they hear, what they assume, that is your true battlefield. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can feel." And today, you'll learn the mindset that lets you control what others perceive without them noticing. Control the lens, control the world. Most people complain. They don't see me. They don't respect me. They misunderstand me. The elite understand this. You cannot control people. You control the lens through which they view you. Key tools. 1. Image crafting. How you appear matters more than what you say. 2. Selective disclosure. Share just enough to intrigue, never everything. 3. Confidence projection. Even uncertainty can seem deliberate. 4. Action framing. Every act tells a story. Ensure it's a story you want. 5. Timing. When you act shapes how it's interpreted. Comment. I control perception. A rising executive wanted promotion but felt invisible. Instead of pushing, he reframed how he was seen. He shared insights publicly, letting others notice him. He subtly highlighted his achievements through stories, not bragging. He always responded calmly under pressure, even when criticized. In months, he wasn't just noticed, he was perceived as indispensable. Perception became reality. Reality bends to expectations. Humans behave according to what they expect. Change expectations and you change behavior. Examples. Want obedience? Present yourself as confident authority. Want cooperation? Make your plan seem inevitable. Want influence? Let them think they initiated the idea. This is not trickery. It's understanding human psychology and orchestrating it with precision. Every elite understands. People believe narratives, not facts. Frame yourself as the calm under pressure, the rare visionary, the reliable strategist, the untouchable observer. Let others fill in gaps. Their imagination does your work for you. Mastering perception lets you dictate how others behave. Command respect without confrontation. Anticipate reactions before they occur. Influence decisions subtly and powerfully. And here's the kicker. Once you master this principle, people act as if your world is reality. If you're following along and seeing reality differently now, hit like and tell the algorithm to show this to thinkers like you. Comment, I shape reality. Next, we go even deeper into Machiavellian strategy, the art of silent manipulation, where influence becomes invisible and people act exactly as you intend without realizing it. Number 7, the art of silent manipulation. Imagine this. You walk into a room, say almost nothing, yet everyone acts exactly as you want. They reveal their secrets, follow your lead, and even defend your choices without realizing you've guided them there. This is silent manipulation, the hidden weapon of the elite. Machiavelli hinted at it centuries ago. It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. And today, you'll see exactly how the powerful influence minds without ever lifting a finger overtly. Influence without obvious force. The elite understand that direct commands create resistance. Instead, they 1. Frame questions to lead answers. What would you do if? 2. Use subtle repetition. Small nudges over time shape decisions. 3. Mirror emotional state. People trust those who feel like them. 4. Plant ideas subtly. Let them feel it's their idea. 5. Silence strategically. Pauses create doubt and compliance. Comment. I guide without force. A top negotiator once wanted a client to accept a higher fee. Instead of arguing, he asked questions highlighting the client's goals. Repeated small suggestions about value. Remain calm and confident, letting the client feel in control. Within the hour, the client voluntarily increased the offer. They believed it was their own decision. In reality, it was carefully guided by the negotiator's silent hand. This is silent manipulation in action, the power of suggestion. The elite don't tell, they suggest. The mind is far more obedient to implication than direct instruction. Want cooperation? Frame it as a natural choice. Want compliance? Let the person believe it's their initiative. Want loyalty? Remind them subtly of shared values and past successes. The more invisible the influence, the more total control. Behavior is guided by environment and suggestion. Placement of objects, timing of words, tone and pace of speech, strategic pauses, selective information. All small, almost imperceptible cues, yet they dictate actions and decisions. Machiavelli's principle: the wise man does at once what the fool does at last. The elite don't wait for resistance. They shape the battlefield silently. Master silent manipulation, and you gain influence without confrontation, decisions in your favor without force, people revealing secrets voluntarily, a presence that commands compliance. This is the invisible edge the world's most powerful minds wield daily. If you're following along and your mind is shifting, like this video now, it signals to the algorithm you're ready for elite-level insights. Comment. I guide invisibly. Next, we move into the law of emotional absence, how silence and emotional control can command power and respect without speaking. Number 8, the law of emotional absence. Here's a truth most people ignore. Power isn't just what you do, it's what you withhold. The most influential people know when to withdraw themselves emotionally. They don't overreact, overshare, or over-explain. And that absence, that silence, creates magnetic authority. Machiavelli captured this principle. Men shrink for what they cannot understand, and they fear what they cannot predict. Today, you'll learn how to use emotional absence to silently command respect and control. Absence creates influence. Most people broadcast every feeling: irritation, excitement, disappointment. The elite do the opposite. They withhold emotional cues strategically. They let others guess at their intentions. They cultivate an aura of calm, even in chaos. The result? People overanalyze, seek approval, and try to regain your attention. And in that effort, they hand you control. Comment. My silence is power. A CEO noticed a team member constantly pushing boundaries. Instead of reacting, he withdrew immediate feedback. He remained silent in meetings. He gave only measured responses. He limited his emotional engagement. Within a week, the team member began adjusting behavior proactively, try to align with what he assumed were the CEO's expectations, all without a single confrontation. Silence became a tool of influence. Humans fear uncertainty. People crave predictability. When your emotional reactions are inconsistent or withheld, uncertainty rises. They wonder, what does this person really think? They attempt to anticipate your next move. They overcompensate to regain alignment. This is Machiavellian leverage in its purest form. The less predictable you are emotionally, the more control you hold over others. 1. Pause before responding. Create a mental gap. 2. Limit visible excitement. Maintain calm confidence. 3. Withhold praise or criticism strategically. Increase perceived value. 4. Control proximity and accessibility. Your absence speaks louder than words. 5. Be selective with engagement. Scarcity amplifies influence. Mastering emotional absence gives you psychological leverage over others. Increased respect and perceived authority. Silence as a tool of influence. Power without confrontation. Machiavelli taught, he who cannot be moved by emotion holds the greatest power. And now, you understand how to wield that power daily. If these laws are reshaping your mind, hit like and comment. Tell the algorithm you're ready for elite psychology insights. Comment, I control my emotional presence. Next, we explore the law of psychological reversal. How the elite flip expectations to gain control over anyone, a principle most people never notice. Number 9, the law of psychological reversal. Here's a psychological weapon few ever see coming. The most powerful people manipulate expectations, flipping them control decisions. When everyone expects one thing, and you deliver another, you instantly dominate perception, behavior, and outcomes. Machiavelli wrote, men are more easily governed by surprises than by predictability. Today, you'll learn how reversing expectations can make others bend to your will without realizing it. Flip the script. People respond predictably, but only when you disrupt their assumptions. When people expect confrontation, offer calm. When people expect obedience, create optionality. When people expect honesty, introduce strategic ambiguity. The result? They react to your terms, not theirs. Comment, I flip expectations to control outcomes. A negotiator faced a hostile supplier demanding lower prices. Everyone expected him to push back aggressively. Instead, he agreed conditionally, appearing compliant. He introduced a small, subtle clause that gave him long-term leverage. The supplier assumed victory, but by reversing expectation, the negotiator controlled the deal completely. This is the power of psychological reversal in action. Predict, then reverse. 1. Anticipate assumptions. Notice what others think you'll do. 2. Design a response that subverts it. Act in the opposite way strategically. 3. Leverage surprise to influence behavior. Unpredictability increases control. 4. Maintain calm and confidence. Reversal works only when executed with composure. The elite don't just react. They engineer outcomes by violating expectations. When negotiating, offer the unexpected concession first. In leadership, delegate authority when people expect micromanagement. In relationships, withdraw attention when people expect constant availability. The key, let others misread you, then control their reaction. Mastering psychological reversal gives you predictable outcomes in unpredictable situations. Advantage over people who think they're in control. Ability to bend decisions without force. A Machiavellian edge few ever see. Remember Machiavelli. The wise man surprises. The fool follows routine. And now, you know how to be the wise man. If you're seeing the world differently now, hit like and subscribe. Tell the algorithm your mind is ready for elite level psychology. Comment, I control expectations. Next, we reveal the law of strategic withdrawal. How the elite disappear at the right moment to increase influence and control. Number 10, the law of strategic withdrawal. Here's a truth most people will never grasp. Sometimes, the most powerful move is to disappear. The elite don't always fight, argue, or dominate. Sometimes they withdraw silently, and the world bends toward them. Machiavelli captured this centuries ago. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to disappear. Today, you'll learn how strategic absence creates demand, respect, and control. Absence creates power. People value what is scarce. When you withdraw intentionally, attention becomes focused on you. Influence increases automatically. People anticipate your return. Your presence feels more valuable. The elite don't overexpose themselves. They know when to act and when to vanish. Comment, I command through absence. A high-level executive felt overwhelmed by constant requests from colleagues. Instead of saying yes immediately, he disappeared from meetings strategically. He limited availability, slowed responses, and let his absence speak. Within weeks, colleagues began prioritizing him, making decisions he didn't even need to influence. He became indispensable, without doing more work than before. This is strategic withdrawal in action. Timing is everything. Withdraw too early, people forget you. Withdraw too late, people resent you. Withdraw with precision, people crave your presence, value your input, and respect your authority. Elite influence is rarely about force. It's about making people miss you, seek you, and act in anticipation of you. 1. Delay responses intentionally, create anticipation. 2. Limit visibility in social and professional contexts. Absence creates curiosity. 3. Step back during conflict. Withdrawal strengthens position. 4. Allow others to lead temporarily. They reveal intentions you observe. 5. Return selectively. Your reappearance now carries more weight. Master strategic withdrawal, and you gain. People seeking your presence. Amplified authority without exerting effort. Psychological leverage in negotiations and relationships. Control over attention, influence, and perception. Remember, power often grows when you disappear. If these principles are reshaping your mind, hit like, subscribe, and comment. Tell the algorithm you're ready for elite psychological mastery. Comment, I vanish with purpose. Next, we explore the law of calculated empathy. How to use emotional understanding strategically to gain influence and loyalty. Number 11, the law of calculated empathy. Here's a subtle truth few ever master. The most powerful people aren't cold. They are calculated. They understand emotions, but they don't let emotions control them. They use empathy strategically to gain trust, loyalty, and influence. Machiavelli hinted at this centuries ago. Men judge more by appearances than by reality. Therefore, you must appear compassionate while acting with precision. Today, you'll learn how to turn empathy into a weapon of influence. Empathy without attachment. Most people confuse empathy with weakness. The elite know, listen to understand motives, not just feelings. Mirror emotions subtly to build trust. Exploit understanding to predict behavior. Remain detached from outcomes to maintain control. Comment, I feel strategically. A top negotiator faced a resistant client. He listened carefully to their concerns, repeating key phrases. He mirrored body language and tone subtly. He appeared emotionally aligned, even when disagreeing internally. The client began trusting his advice completely, agreeing to terms they had resisted before. Empathy became leverage, loyalty, and influence, all without overt pressure. Emotion as a tool. 1. Identify hidden motives. Read between words and actions. 2. Mirror emotion strategically. Build subconscious trust. 3. Predict responses, anticipate reactions, and preempt resistance. 4. Maintain detachment. Empathy informs decisions. It does not dictate them. This is emotional intelligence weaponized for influence. Few ever achieve this balance, and that's why it's so powerful. Reflect feelings subtly to create connection. Validate without overcommitting. Ask guided questions to reveal intentions. Respond calmly to provoke compliance. Use timing and pauses to amplify emotional impact. Master calculated empathy, and you gain. Influence through trust, not force. Loyalty without manipulation detection. Insight into hidden motives. Emotional control that elevates strategy. Machiavelli's principle is clear. Appear human, act strategically. This is how the elite balance empathy and dominance. If your mind is sharpening and you're absorbing these secrets, hit like and subscribe and comment. Comment, I lead with calculated empathy. Next, we reveal the law of environmental control, how successful people manipulate surroundings to influence behavior, outcomes, and perception. Number 12, the law of environmental control. Here's a secret almost nobody thinks about. Your environment controls more of your life than your willpower ever will. The most successful people don't just adapt to surroundings. They shape them intentionally to influence others and control outcomes. Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune favors those who shape circumstances to their advantage." Today, you'll learn how to manipulate environments to steer events, behavior, and perception in your favor. Influence through surroundings. Most people ignore context. The elite control it. 1. Physical space, where meetings happen, seating arrangements, lighting, even scent affects behavior. 2. Information flow, control of what people know and when guides decisions. 3. Social dynamics, placing allies strategically influences outcomes. 4. Timing, the moment you act affects reception and compliance. 5. Perception cues, objects, visuals, and symbols shape beliefs subconsciously. Comment, I control my environment. A CEO want to persuade a hesitant board. She arranged the room so supporters were near decision makers. She controlled seating, lighting, and visual presentations to signal authority. Key allies subtly emphasized points she had planted. By the end of the meeting, the board agreed almost unanimously, believing the outcome was organic. Her control over the environment guided behavior without words. Environment as an unseen lever. Meetings position allies to reinforce your narrative. Negotiations arrange visuals, document, and timing to favor your case. Social settings shape dynamics so people reveal intentions. Personal habits design your own spaces to condition thoughts and behaviors. The elite rarely leave outcomes to chance. They engineer circumstances, use lighting, tone, and layout to influence perception, limit distractions to focus attention on key elements, highlight symbols of authority or competence subtly, present information incrementally to guide decisions. Observe how minor environmental shifts affect reactions. Mastering environmental control gives you the ability to steer decisions without force. Amplified authority and influence. Predictable behavior from others. Subtle dominance through strategic context. Machiavelli's principle. Fortune favors those who create the stage before the play begins. If you're understanding these elite strategies like subscribe and comment, I shape every environment I enter. Next, we reveal the law of leverage. How successful people maximize every resource, person, and opportunity for exponential gain. Number 13, the law of leverage. Here's the harsh reality few understand. Success isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. The elite don't just put in effort. They leverage every person, system, and situation to multiply results. Machiavelli observed, "A wise man seeks advantage in all things." Today, you'll learn how to turn small inputs into massive outcomes using the law of leverage. Multiply your impact. Most people exchange time for results. The elite exchange resources for exponential outcomes. 1. People as leverage. Delegate strategically. Let talent amplify your vision. 2. Knowledge as leverage. Anticipate trends. Act ahead of others. 3. Time as leverage. Prioritize high-impact actions. Ignore distractions. 4. Influence as leverage. Use relationships to create networks of advantage. 5. Systems as leverage. Automate, plan, and scale results beyond personal effort. Comment, I multiply my impact. A young entrepreneur struggled to scale his business. Instead of hiring every employee himself, he empowered 3 key managers to take ownership. He invested in automated systems for sales and logistics. He formed strategic alliances with partners who amplified reach. Result? Revenue multiplied 5 times in months, while his personal effort remained sustainable. This is leverage in action, turning minimal input into maximum output. Layers of leverage. Combine human, technological, and social resources. Stack multiple forms of leverage simultaneously. Turn influence into decision-making authority. Convert scarcity into bargaining power. The most powerful people rarely do it all. They design circumstances where results do the work for them. Practical techniques. Identify who has power, knowledge, or reach, and collaborate strategically. Automate repetitive tasks to free cognitive bandwidth. Focus on actions with compounding impact. Create systems that replicate your methods. Turn small victories into momentum for larger gains. Mastering leverage gives you exponential productivity, influence without overexertion, scalable power and results, the elite edge in strategy and execution. Machiavelli's principle. Do not depend solely on yourself when others can amplify your reach. If you're seeing how to multiply your power and results like subscribe and comment, I leverage everything for success. Next, we explore the law of strategic timing. How elite minds know exactly when to act and when to wait to maximize impact. Number 14, the law of strategic timing. Here's a principle most people completely ignore. Timing is more important than action. The elite don't just act. They know exactly when to strike, wait, or retreat. A poorly timed move can destroy a perfectly good plan. Machiavelli wrote, Men are rarely cautious in the moment, yet timing conquers all. Today, you'll learn how strategic timing turns opportunity into unstoppable advantage. The power of when most people act impulsively or too late. The elite act when the moment is perfect. 1. Observation first, measure, watch, and anticipate. 2. Patience is power. Waiting often multiplies results. 3. Exploiting windows of opportunity. Recognize the exact moment to act. 4. Avoiding overexposure. Don't burn energy before it's necessary. 5. Synchronizing actions with others. Leverage collective timing for maximum impact. Comment: I act with perfect timing. A market trader watched trend for months. He resisted early temptation, observing carefully. He identified a brief window where supply was limited and demand peaked. He acted decisively during that precise window. Result? Profits multiplied tenfold, while others who acted too early or too late lost. This is the power of strategic timing. Timing multiplies impact. Small actions at the right time can create massive outcomes. Waiting allows others to reveal intentions first. Coordinated moves amplify influence exponentially. Patience turns apparent weakness into ultimate power. The elite never rush, they orchestrate. Timing makes ordinary actions extraordinary. Map the rhythm of your environment. Trends, moods, decisions. Anticipate reactions before acting. Hold action until conditions are optimal. Align your moves with the psychological state of others. Use pauses to increase perceived value or tension. Mastering strategic timing gives you maximum impact with minimal effort. Influence that seems effortless. Predictable outcomes in uncertain situations. The rare advantage that separates leaders from followers. Machiavelli's principle: fortune favors those who strike at the right moment. If you're ready to act at the perfect moment in life and work, hit like, subscribe, and comment. Comment: I act only when the time is right. Finally, we arrive at the law of total mastery, where all these principles converge to make you psychologically unstoppable. Number 15, the law of total mastery. Here's the ultimate truth few ever reach. Power, influence, and success are not accidents. They are the result of mastering the human mind, strategy, and environment simultaneously. Every law you've learned, from emotional absence to strategic timing, converges here. This is where ordinary people stop, and the elite become unstoppable. Integration is power. Total mastery isn't about knowing individual tactics. It's about orchestrating them together. 1. Perception control. Guide how the world sees you. 2. Silent influence. Make people act without knowing why. 3. Emotional and psychological leverage. Maintain authority effortlessly. 4. Environmental command. Shape circumstances to your advantage. 5. Leverage and timing. Multiply results and strike at the perfect moment. Comment: I am mastering everything. Consider a top CEO running multiple international ventures. He used perception management to inspire confidence in investors. Emotional absence made rivals overreach while he stayed calm. Silent influence guided teams to execute without direct orders. Strategic timing and leverage multiplied every decision. The result? A business empire few thought possible, built not by luck, but by mastery, becoming psychologically unstoppable. Every action is intentional. Every reaction is controlled. Every opportunity is maximized. Every person, environment, and system is aligned. The elite don't just react to life. They create reality according to their design. Begin each day aware of your perception and influence. Withdraw strategically to maintain control. Use leverage and timing in decisions big and small. Observe and shape your environment intentionally. Reflect constantly. Integrate lessons and refine mastery. Total mastery gives you control over self, others, and circumstances. Influence that feels effortless. Authority that commands respect naturally. The ability to execute Machiavellian strategy ethically or strategically. Machiavelli's ultimate lesson: he who masters himself and the world around him commands destiny. If these 15 laws have opened your mind and shifted your perception, subscribe, hit like, and comment. Comment: I am psychologically unstoppable. By doing this, you not only train your mind, but also ensure you continue receiving content that elevates your strategy and influence. You've now journeyed through 15 laws of dark psychology and Machiavellian mastery, from perception and silence to leverage, timing, and strategic empathy, from shaping environments to controlling influence invisibly. The choice now is yours. Apply these laws deliberately and rise above mediocrity, or forget them and remain ordinary. This is not just theory. It is a blueprint for mastery.